The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Hello 9th standard children, I am meeting you all after a long time, isn't it? Remember, you are in 9th standard. Next year you are going to 10th standard. Actually, there is no need of being tense at all. 10th portion is very easy, provided you have a strong base in the 9th standard portion. So children, keep on the enthusiasm, keep on the momentum, carry on, never feel lazy or tired, okay? Always be active and do your work systematically. So 4 lessons are over in chemistry. The 5th lesson is acids, bases and salts. So I thought this lesson will be dealt by me. I hope you are completing the notes, files, and when teachers ask for the notes, you will have to send it to them, okay? So periodic table is a very important lesson. You have learnt about the period number, group number, then atomic size, ionization energy. If you have any doubts, you can call us, children. I am starting with the next topic, that is the 5th lesson topic, acids, bases and salts. You have learnt about acids, bases and salts right from the UP classes. 6th and 7th, I am sure you have gone through all this. You have heard about acids, alkalis, salt, neutralization. Neutralization you have learnt in 8th standard as well. Okay. Now I'll just brush up whatever you have learnt in 6th or 7th standard. Okay. Now you all might have heard about litmus paper, pH paper, isn't it? What are those papers? Simply, those papers are actually, they play a very important role in identifying whether the solution is acidic or basic in nature. If I give you a solution and if I ask you to test whether this is acidic, whether that particular solution is acidic or basic, what will you do? Will you taste it? Now suppose the solution is hydrochloric acid, okay, that only I may know. If I ask you what is it, will you drink it and taste it? No, it is not possible. So for that we use acid-base indicators. What are those indicators? Litmus paper, pH paper and all those. They help us to identify whether that solution is acidic or basic. Okay, our acid-base indicators means they help us in judging whether the given solution is acidic in nature or basic in nature. How will you judge it? Suppose this is a test tube and this contains a solution and I am asking you to identify whether this is acidic or basic. What will you do immediately? Just drop in blue litmus paper. When I put blue litmus paper, if it turns red, that means this solution is acidic. So blue litmus turns red in color if the solution is acidic. Okay, and if I give you a solution that is basic, what happens? If I put the blue litmus, will there be any change? No. Blue litmus turns to red only if it is acidic. But if I put a red litmus here, it turns blue because this is basic in nature. So if it is acidic, blue litmus turns red, and if the solution is basic, red litmus turns blue in color. So litmus papers are acid-base indicators, pH paper as well. Okay, so in this lesson you are going to study about acids, their properties, alkalis, their properties, and salts, how to derive the chemical formula. But you have to be very attentive, you have to focus because you are learning all this for the first time. And remember, as I told you in the beginning, this is the base or the foundation on which your knowledge about chemistry can be built. So don't be lethargic, be active, and always be prompt in understanding whatever the teachers are teaching. Okay, so understand what is the meaning of acid-base indicators. Acid-base indicators means they help us to understand whether the given solution is acidic or basic or neutral in nature. Neutral varna, neither acidic nor basic. Okay, acidic ആയിരിക്കില്ല, basic ആയിരിക്കില്ല, അങ്ങനെയുള്ള solutions ഉണ്ട്. You will study about all that, okay. Now, in the first page, they have shown a table. Have a look at the table. They are given 4 substances. First one vinegar, second lime water, third one soap solution, fourth one hydrochloric acid. Now vinegar, it contains acetic acid. So which litmus will undergo change? Blue litmus will turn to red. Lime water, that is calcium hydroxide solution. So calcium hydroxide, I'll teach you later. Now you just write there, red litmus turns blue. Soap solution also, red litmus turns blue. Fourth, hydrochloric acid. Here the name itself suggests that it's an acid. So here you have to write blue litmus turns red. Now the third column is about characteristics. I will teach you all that later. So now you just have to write it in the textbook with pencil, or if you want you may enter it into the file. Okay. Now I move on to the next page. In the next page they have asked us to carry out an experiment. In that experiment, just have a look at the figure shown. We have to take a small piece of zinc, add dilute hydrochloric acid using a dropper, and show a burning matchstick at the mouth of the test tube. Record the observation. What is your observation and what is the reason that you have to write. Then they have given the equation also for the reaction. Okay, now have a look at the figure and then I will teach you in detail. Now, they have asked us to carry out an experiment. In that experiment, we have to take a test tube, put a piece of zinc. This is a piece of zinc. Zinc is a metal, small piece of zinc. Add dilute hydrochloric acid using a dropper. A dropper is also shown at the top. Now, what will happen? It will start reacting. Zinc and hydrochloric acid will undergo reaction, and there they have asked us to write the equation as well. We get zinc chloride plus hydrogen gas. This you already have studied in 8th standard. Now zinc reacts with hydrochloric acid, we get the salt zinc chloride, and which gas comes out? Hydrogen gas comes out. Now when we hold a matchstick here, what happens? I taught you last year, the flame is put off. Why? Because hydrogen gas does not support combustion. You have heard this word last year. It does not support burning. The flame is put off. And how does it get put off? With a pop sound. Do you remember? Pop sound. So this is the identification for hydrogen gas. So again I repeat, when zinc reacts with hydrochloric acid, we get zinc chloride and hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas is evolved. When we bring a burning matchstick at the top of the test tube, what happens? The flame is put out. How? With a pop sound. So this is the best identification for hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas ആണെന്ന് എങ്ങനെ ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുക? ഒരു മാച്ച്സ്റ്റിക്ക് അതിൻ്റെ മുകളിൽ കൊണ്ടുവന്നാൽ the flame is put off, okay? And how? With a pop sound. Now is this reaction balanced? Balancing also he has studied. One zinc, one hydrogen here, two hydrogen, so put a 2 here. Now 2 chlorine, here also there are 2 chlorine. Now this reaction is balanced. These are the reactants and these two are the products. Okay. Now from this we can come to a very important conclusion. What is that conclusion? It is given here. Acids react with reactive metals to form hydrogen gas. Acids react with reactive metals to form hydrogen gas. Why they use the word reactive metals? Now there are some metals like gold, silver, they do not react with acid. Okay. They never react. Even if I put this in hydrochloric acid, it will not undergo any change. It will not react. Okay. But if reactive metals, to reactive metals, if we add acids, which gas is given out? Hydrogen gas. So this is the first property that we are learning today is acids react with reactive metals to form hydrogen gas. Acids react with metals to form hydrogen gas. Okay. Now I move on to the second experiment. Have a look at the figure. There in the test tube they have taken some calcium carbonate, that is marble pieces. Marble pieces means calcium carbonate. Okay. In a boiling tube as shown in the figure, add dilute hydrochloric acid to it through a thistle funnel. You can see a thistle funnel. Through it we can add dilute hydrochloric acid to calcium carbonate. Okay. Now pass the evolving gas through clear lime water taken in a test tube. They have asked which is the gas that comes out through the delivery tube and what is your observation when this gas is passed through clear lime water. So in this experiment they have asked us to take calcium carbonate pieces, that is marble pieces. To this we have to add dilute hydrochloric acid through a thistle funnel. Okay. Now what happens? This marble pieces will react with acid and a gas comes out which is then passed into lime water. Lime water means calcium hydroxide solution. So this contains lime water. Okay. Just you have to understand. Okay. So test tube, in this test tube I have taken marble pieces, that is calcium carbonate. To this I have added hydrochloric acid. Now reaction automatically starts and one gas comes out through this like this. It is now entering the lime water. When it enters the lime water, they have asked us to record the observation. What is observation? This is a very, very important thing that you always have to remember. First of all, which gas comes out? When calcium carbonate reacts with acid, the gas that comes out is carbon dioxide gas. And this carbon dioxide gas, when it enters lime water, this lime water turns milky. Okay. Lime water is calcium hydroxide solution. That is plain water poleയാണ്. അതിൽ carbon dioxide വരുമ്പോൾ അത് അങ്ങനെ പാല് പോലെയാവും. So this is the best identification for carbon dioxide gas. Once again I repeat, when marble pieces, that is calcium carbonate, reacts with acid, carbon dioxide gas comes out. It reacts with lime water turns milky. So if I ask you in the question, what is the identification for carbon dioxide gas? You must be able to tell the answer that when carbon dioxide is passed into lime water turns milky. Plain water പോലെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന calcium hydroxide അത് milky ആയിട്ട് മാറും, പാല് പോലെയാവും. Only when carbon dioxide reaches lime water. Is it clear? So the first property was acids react with metals to form hydrogen gas. Second, acids react with calcium carbonate out. Or when acids react with carbonates, carbon dioxide gas is liberated. Acids metal കൊണ്ട് റിയാക്ട് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഹൈഡ്രജൻ ഗ്യാസ് വന്നു. അതേ acids when it reacts with carbonates, which gas comes out? Carbon dioxide. In the first case, hydrogen produces a pop sound. In the second case, carbon dioxide turns lime water milky. Is this clear? Okay. Now, they have given many characteristics of acids, and from this we have to put tick mark in the suitable property. Okay. First one, have alkaline taste. False. Second, this is only for acids. Okay. Turn blue litmus red. That is true. Third one, it reacts with carbonates to form carbon dioxide gas. True. Soapy to touch. False. Liberate hydrogen on reaction with highly reactive metals like magnesium and zinc. True. Have sour taste. Sour taste varna puluppu. Yes, that is true. Turns red litmus blue. False. Acids red litmus ne blue ആക്കില്ല. Okay. Acids blue litmus ne red ആക്കും. That must be clear. Okay. Now, acids ne sour taste. Sour means puluppu. Now, before that, let me tell you, you all drink lime juice, isn't it? Naringa vellam, orange juice. Then tamarind. Tamarind varna puli. Puli endana taste? Sour alle, puluppalle. Why? Tamarind also has an acid. What is the acid that is there in tamarind? It is tartaric acid. Vinegarum puluppunda because it has acetic acid in it. Orange, lemons like either acid ana. You have studied all this last year. Citric acid. Naranga, lemon, puli, pinna vinegar. Idellam puluppana. Why? Because it has acid in it. But we all have this, isn't it? We consume it without any fear. പുളി ചേർത്തിട്ട് ഫുഡ് ഉണ്ടാക്കും, നാരങ്ങ യൂസ് ചെയ്യും, വിനേഗർ യൂസ് ചെയ്യും, അതിലൊക്കെ ആസിഡ് ഉണ്ട്. അയ്യോ കഴിക്കാണ്ടിരിക്കണ്ടോ നമ്മൾ? നോ, all these are acids. It is present in tartaric, is present in tamarind, acetic acid present in vinegar, citric acid in lemons, oranges. But still we are consuming it because all these are weak acids. Weak acids. Now, you have curd, isn't it? Curd varna തൈര്, അതിലൊരു ആസിഡും കൂടി ഉണ്ട്, lactic acid. That also we consume. All these are weak acids. There is no problem in having it. It is edible. But can you, if I ask you to drink hydrochloric acid, will you drink it? No. Because hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, they are strong acids. Okay? We can't even touch them with our hands. They are so strong. If it comes into contact with our skin, the skin may come off. It is so powerful. But all these acids are weak acids. There are strong acids like hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, sulfuric acid. You will learn about all this later. Okay, so far I taught you that when acids react with metals, we get hydrogen gas. When acids react with carbonates, we get carbon dioxide gas. And identification also very, very important. Clear? Okay. Now there is a table where there are two columns. In the first column, it is name of acid. Second is chemical formula. So I will just write down the formulas for you. First one is done. Hydrochloric acid, the formula given is HCl. Second one, nitric acid, the formula is HNO3. Carbonic acid, H2CO3. Fourth one, sulfuric acid, it is H2SO4. So all these are the formulas of acids: hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, carbonic acid and sulfuric acid. Okay, now they have asked a question, which component is responsible for the common properties of acids? Now have a look at this, children. In all these acids, there is one component that is common. What is it? That is hydrogen, isn't it? Hydrogen. So in all the acids, there is a common thing present, and that is nothing else. It is hydrogen iron. Okay, you will learn about this now. Hydrogen, the presence of hydrogen, that is a common factor in all the 4 acids given here. In all the acids, there will be hydrogen. Okay, so this component is responsible for the acidic property. When the acids dissolve in water, it gets split into positive ion and negative ion. Okay, when hydrochloric acid dissolves in water, it splits into hydrogen, that is positive, and chlorine, that is negative ion. Okay, H plus and Cl minus. Now there is one more example given. This is nitric acid. This also splits into positive ion and negative ion. Okay, so when acids dissolve in water, they dissociate or they ionize or they split into positive and negative ions. This is the next thing that you have to understand. When acids dissolve in water, they split into positive and negative ions. Clear? Okay. Now, important thing I told you, the properties of acids are due to the presence of hydrogen ions present in them. Why do acids behave in a typical manner? Because of the presence of hydrogen ions. So now the definition of acids, very important. Acids are substances which can increase the concentration of hydrogen ions in aqueous solutions. Acids are substances which can increase the concentration of hydrogen ions in an aqueous solution. Aqueous solution varna vellumulla solution la if we add acids, what happens? Automatically the hydrogen ion concentration increases. Along the number of hydrogen ions, H plus ions, increases when it is added to water. Okay, when acids dissolve in water, they behave like acids because of the presence of H plus ion. These H plus ions are responsible for the acidic properties. Is it clear? Okay. Now, I move on to the next very important point that is given in the textbook. I told you this is, when it is added to water, it splits into H plus and Cl minus ion, in this case, positive and negative. Now, this is in water, remember. So the hydrogen H plus ion, it cannot exist independently. What it does, immediately it combines with H2O to form H3O plus. This is hydronium ion. Okay, it combines to form H3O plus, hydronium ions. H3O plus means hydronium ions. So again, I'll repeat whatever I taught you. When acids dissolve in water, they ionize to form positive ions and negative ions. Now remember, this is in water. So these H plus ions, they combine with water. They cannot exist independently. Immediately they combine with water molecules and they form H3O plus, that is hydronium ion. Hydronium ions. This is hydronium ions. Clear? Okay. Now I move on to the next important point, that is basicity of acids. Basicity of acids. What is the meaning of basicity of acids? Now on the basis of basicity, there are 3 types of acids. First one, monobasic acid. Second, dibasic acid, and the third, tribasic acid. Okay. Now from the name itself you can understand this is mono, this is di, and this is tri. What is this difference? Basicity of acids means what? In that there are again 3 types, mono, di and tri. Now listen carefully. Basicity of acid means the number of hydrogen ions that can be released by one molecule of an acid. ഒരു molecule of acid എത്ര ഹൈഡ്രജൻ അയോൺസിനെ ലിബറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യും, അതിൻ്റെ ബേസിസിലാണ് ബേസിസിറ്റി കാൽക്കുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക. ഇസ് ഇറ്റ് ക്ലിയർ? Listen to me carefully. how to know whether the acid given is monobasic, dibasic or tribasic? The number of hydrogen ions that can be released determines the basicity of an acid. Here the definition is given. The number of hydrogen ions that can be donated by one molecule of an acid is its basicity. Okay, that means if that acid gives one hydrogen ion out or donates, that is monobasic. If that acid gives two hydrogen ions, it is dibasic. And if the acid gives three hydrogen ions, it is tribasic acid. Clear? Now I'll teach you one by one. Listen carefully, okay? First one, the example given is, see here, HCl gives H plus Cl minus. This is one molecule of hydrochloric acid. When it gets ionized, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ when it splits, how many hydrogen ions have come out? It donates only one hydrogen. So hydrochloric acid is monobasic. Clear? Now again, one more, HNO3. When it gets ionized, we get H plus NO3 minus. Again, one hydrogen ion is given out. So nitric acid is also monobasic. So HCl gives one H plus, HNO3 also gives one H plus. So both these acids are monobasic acid. So the basicity is 1 in this case. In this case, it is 1. Hydrochloric acid and nitric acid, the basicity is 1 because it gives out only one hydrogen ion. Okay, now what about dibasic acid? Now we will study about dibasic acids. Remember, in this case, when it got ionized, in both the cases, only one H plus was given out. This splits into one H plus and one Cl minus. This acid again splits into one H plus and one NO3 minus. So in both the cases, only one H plus, so the basicity was 1. In the case of dibasic acids, from the name itself you should understand, two hydrogen must be released, will be released. The number of hydrogen ions donated will determine the basicity. Now let us have a look at this. This is sulfuric acid. This gets ionized and split out to form one H plus is given out. It is donated. One positive ion is released. So automatically one negative charge will be here to balance the equation. Clear? Only then it will get balanced. So this is 1 H plus. Out of this 1 H plus comes out remaining HSO4, and don't forget to put the minus sign over this, that is bisulfate ion. Ionization is not over because again there is one H over here. Write this here again. So HSO4, this should be written at the top, minus gives out. This H plus is also released again. Remaining is SO4 2 minus. Why I wrote here 2 minus? Because two positive charges are released. Two positive and positive charge release automatically two negative charges are gained, isn't it? രണ്ട് പോസിറ്റീവ് ചാർജസ് ആണ് പുറത്ത് വന്നത്, അപ്പോൾ രണ്ട് നെഗറ്റീവ് ചാർജ് ഗെയിൻ ആവുകയല്ലേ ചെയ്യുള്ളൂ. There are two positive charges given out, so this gains two negative charges. രണ്ട് പോസിറ്റീവ് ചാർജ് കുറയുകയാണ്, അപ്പോൾ രണ്ട് നെഗറ്റീവ് കൂടുകയല്ലേ. So that is written here. So children, two positive ions are given out, it becomes less, so naturally it acquires two negative charges. So now in this case, how many hydrogen ions are given out? Two hydrogen ions are given out, so the basicity is 2 in this case because two hydrogen ions are given out. Clear? Okay. Now in the case of tribasic acid, how many hydrogen ions will be given out? 3 is phosphoric acid, H3PO4. Now this is phosphoric acid. The formula is H3PO4. Now let us work out the ionization of phosphoric acid. Again, first step, one H plus comes out. So this acquires one negative charge. Now ionization is not over because there are 2 more hydrogens remaining to get ionized, isn't it? So write this down here again, H2PO4 minus, again 1 H plus comes out from this. What is remaining here? HPO4. Here the charge now becomes 2 minus because 2 positive ions are released. So when 2 positive charges goes out, naturally 2 negative charges are gained, isn't it? Not over yet, write down here again. From this 1 H plus comes out. So here the charge is 2 minus, but totally 3 positive charges are gone. So it gains 3 negative charges. Clear? Understood? 3 positive charges are release ആയത്. 3 positive charges release ആയി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ what happens? 3 negative charges are gained by this phosphate ion. This is phosphate ion. So 3 positive charges are released. When phosphoric acid is dissolved in water, 3 hydrogen ions are released. That is 3 positive charges come out of this. When 3 positive ions are lost, naturally 3 negative charges are gained here. This is very, very important. So now the basicity of this acid is 3 because 3 hydrogen ions are released. So the number of hydrogen ions released by one molecule of an acid determines its basicity. Hydrochloric acid 1 H plus. Sulfuric acid 2 hydrogen is released. Phosphoric acid 3 hydrogen is released. Understood the basicity of acid now? How to calculate? So H what is remaining, you have to be very careful while adding the charges. So here 1 minus, here 2 minus, and here 3 minus. Remember. Now have a look at this. Here water is added to carbon dioxide. This is an oxide of non-metal. Carbon is a non-metal. And we get carbonic acid. Here again water is added to oxide of sulfur. Sulfur is also a non-metal. So this is a non-metallic oxide. This is also a non-metallic oxide. Carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide non-metal oxygen combine and we get oxides. Here both the oxides are non-metallic oxides. Remember, metals alla, non-metals combine we get non-metallic oxides, and when they react with water we get acids. This is carbonic acid and this is sulfurous acid. Now from this the definition given here is, or the fact given here is, carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide, they all are non-metallic oxides. Generally, compounds formed by the reaction of non-metallic oxides with water are acidic. Upon non-metallic oxide konde water react chidal, we get acids. We get solutions which are acidic in nature. Clear? So non-metallic oxides like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, non-metallic kana, they react with water to get acids. They are acidic in nature. They react with water and compounds formed are acidic in nature. Okay. So once again, places where there are many factories or in town areas or in industrial areas, it leads to pollution. Many gases are given out. Gases like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon dioxide, these gases are released. Okay. So they go up into the air. They are carried by winds to different places. What happens when these gases, they are released from the factories, they go up and they mix with the rain, and when they reach the soil back on the earth, it comes down as acid rain. So these gases, when they mix with rain, it comes down as acid rain. I taught you non-metallic oxides, when it combines with water, it forms acids. So these gases, when it is released, when they are released from factories, they combine with rain and they form acid rain. It is not good. It is harmful. Okay, now the next question given in the book. Have a look at the figure, children, first. They have shown acidic oxides being liberated into that. These gases are then carried by the wind. Then these gases dissolve in rainwater to form acid rain. So the gases released from the factories, they are carried by wind to different places. There they dissolve in rain and they come down as acid rain. Okay. Now what are the environmental problems caused by acid rain? Acid rain is not good, I told you. They cause many problems. What are those problems? First problem given in the book is plants lose their ability to produce carbohydrates through photosynthesis as their leaves are destroyed. The acid rain, when it falls on the leaves, leaves prepare food for the plants. When these acid rain falls on the leaves, naturally they cannot prepare food. So plants also cannot grow. Without food, nobody can grow. Even plants cannot grow. So plants lose their ability to produce food through photosynthesis because their leaves get destroyed. Then severe acid rain destroys the greenery of a region. When acid rain falls on green leaves and plants, naturally those plants will get destroyed. So greenery is also affected. Third, the acidic nature of water causes the death and destruction of fish and corals. It even harms the aquatic organisms. When it falls in over the sea, rivers, oceans, it leads to destruction of fish and corals. Okay, there's one more blank dot left over there. You have to fill on your own. Everything can't be said by teacher, you just have to try. Okay, so the fourth point, I hope you all will write. Now the next one, what measures are to be taken against the environmental issues caused by acid rain? Discuss. First point is given, the measures to reduce it or to prevent this, prevent the damage caused to the environment. What are the measures taken to prevent the damage caused by acid rain? First one, reduce the excessive use of fossil fuels. Now what is fossil fuel? Fossil fuels means they are found deep under the seas and oceans like coal and petroleum. Okay, so the first measure is we have to reduce the use of all that. Coal and petrol used to naturally all these dangerous gases are liberated. Second, before using fossil fuels, remove sulfur compounds from them as far as possible. Fossil fuels used to sulfur neka maatiyal atratolam pollution kammiyavunna parayana. Okay, so acid rain ne prevent cheyan, not acid rain, environmental issues ne tadukkan. What are the measures to be taken against the issues caused by acid rain? First measure is we have to reduce the excessive use of fossil fuels, and even if we are using it, we have to remove the sulfur compounds from it. Now the third one. First of all, acid rain is formed only because these dangerous gases are given out. So we have to prohibit the burning of substances that contain all this. Isn't it? The third point, you can write whatever you wish. So here children, I will stop because the portion related to acid is over here. So first, I taught you the characteristics of acids. That is, blue litmus turns red, they are sour in taste. Hydrogen gas is given out when it reacts with acids. Metals, when react with acids, hydrogen is given out. Metals like marble, when they react with acids, carbon dioxide gas is given out. I told you about the identification tests also for those gases. Then I discussed about the ionization, basicity, then about acid rain and how to prevent the issues caused by acid rain. What are the harmful effects caused because of this acid rain? Okay, so I don't wish to confuse you anymore. I hope you will go through the portion, read the textbook, understand this. And if you have any doubts, you can call me or Bindu teacher. Okay, so that's all for now. Bye. Thank you.